What is going on, everybody? Back with another video. Today I'll be answering a very old question that I keep on getting consistently, which is what kind of camera do I use and how do I produce the quality of pictures on the videos. So I'm going to show you what I did and what my build is with my lighting setup and how you can do it for really, really cheap. And one thing I always stick by is that you can have an extremely expensive camera, but if your lighting sucks, then your video quality is going to suck. So you got to have good lighting and you got to have proper settings on your camera if they are available. If you don't have very little settings available on your camera, then you can improve your lighting, which also improves the quality of your picture as well. Okay, so on this table, this is what I primarily shoot at. Alright, so there's a table I got from Sears, and it was like 35 bucks. It's just a little simple fold-out table, and I put all my gear on a white poster board that I got from Staples. And what it is, it's kind of shiny on this side, and it's a really nice matte finish on the other side, which doesn't reflect a lot of light, but diffuses a lot of it. Now, these poster boards I use as reflectors. Now, these are like 10 sheets for $5. Not very expensive at all. These are just chopping boards, and what they are is they're just very translucent. I found these at Fred Meyer's, and I thought it would be a great light diffuser. So you notice the lamp here is very, very bright. Now as I put the diffuser up here, you notice how the light becomes very, very evenly distributed. Now this is what I'll use to evenly distribute the light that comes from my day lamp bulbs. Dry erase board, a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier, more heavier duty is plastic. On the back it's a nice matte finish where not much light shines off of, and if I want like harsher light on the back, it's more shiny. So I use that as a reflector. On the corner here, I got two light fixtures I got from Home Depot. These do not include bulbs, but the light fixtures themselves were like $6 each, I believe. And inside I have daylight bulbs. Now, most normally bulbs like these up here, these are just normal household bulbs. They produce 2,700 kelvins in temperature, which means it produces a very yellowish light. So unless you adjust for the white balance on your camera, you're going to get a very yellow photo or a yellow video. So these are daylight bulbs. These are 5,000 kelvins and produce a very, very pure white light. They're attached to just basically extension cords. Now the reason I picked these is because these actually stand up like this. And see how that is? And I use it to reflect light off of my reflectors over here, which I'll show you in a minute. Over here is my sound bag. It's got a cord that attaches my voice recorder to my video camera, which I'm holding right now. I don't actually use the recorder to record the sound directly, but the recorder is more like just used as an external microphone and is connected directly to my camcorder, which I'm holding. A variety of clamps I use these to hold up my reflectors, and which I'll show you in a minute. These clamps, like these are like $2, these are like $6, these are like $3, $5. You know, you get these at Home Depot very cheap. Now this is an art easel I happen to have because a lot of you know I like to draw. And what I did is I kind of modified it. Well, I didn't really modify it, but I kind of put a softbox. Now this is a collapsible softbox I got from Tull's Camera, I believe. Now I used to use it for my photography, but now I use it as a reflector. I just collapse the softbox, I attach it to my easel, and as you can see, I can angle it down, which basically it bounces light up and it bounces the light back down onto my subjects. $100. And the reason I chose this tripod is because you have an extendable arm like this, which means I can set this camera off to, or set the camera off to an angle, set the tripod off to the other side, and have the camera still in front of me, and I can work right here without having the actual legs of the tripod get in the way while I'm shooting. So it's very, very useful in those terms. Okay, so for my still photos, I shoot with the Canon 40D. And for my video, I shoot with the Canon Vixia HF-S20. Okay, so here we are. This is my complete setup. This is exactly what I shoot my knife reviews with, alright? So let's start in the very front. I got my tripod here, my Ultra tripod. I have my voice recorder here that will be connected to my camcorder, which I'm holding right now, for external microphones, so it captures my voice a little better. The two cutting boards are on either side, and behind them are the lights. Now the cutting boards are being held on by these clamps. I just clamped it and then it sits right on the table very nicely. These lamps from Home Depot are right behind each cutting board. Here's the extension cord and another clamp that holds it, so basically it doesn't rock back and forth as much. And it's behind it is the white poster board on each side, and here's the dry erase board here, and another poster board in front for my white background, which you can replace. on right now, you'll see how the light is not as harsh as if I'm right here. It's a lot more diffused when it comes into the middle of the viewing area. All right. So, and then in order to change my background, I just clip it up onto the board here, and then just lay it down here, so I get no edges or anything like that. It's just a nice smooth covering. You can replace that with a black poster board, gray poster board, whatever color you want. On top here, I got my reflector, so whatever light that spills off of these small lights here will hit up here, bounce back down, and create a little bit of fill light for my subject. We're going to go and check out some of the other stuff that I do to improve my video quality, such as exposure compensation, manual focus, and also custom white balances. Okay, so here's a very good example of how the camera exposure kind of messes you up. Now I want you to watch the background, meaning this area right here, all right? As I reach with my hands in, my hands become the brightest part of the video, which means that the camera automatically adjusts the exposure settings to dim the camera. So check this out. Okay, now you see how you see the background gone dark, and then and notice how as I'm moving my fingers around, it actually kind of just adjusts. So what I do is I set to a manual exposure. So let me go and dial in a new exposure here. I'm going to set it right here, and I think it's a little too bright. So let me just dial in. So now I can put it to a lower setting, or even a lower setting still, or I can overblow it and set it to a really, really high setting. But the problem is my hands are going to be all white. So let's go and dial it back down to a lower setting here. Let's just give it like a negative 0.5. Okay, so right here, now you notice when I move my hands in here, it no longer compensates for the brightest part of the video. All right, so I can use annoying things I've seen on some YouTube videos, the fact that while you're trying to do a macro shot, it focuses in on the background. Let's say you're trying to get like the blade. See, look how it just dies out on me, you know. So then people start talking, and then they have to refocus back. Come on, you know. So it kind of takes a little while for it to refocus. Come on, so back into the. What I do is I set it to a manual focus, at least for macro shots. So let me see if I can get this thing back into focus again. There it goes. I'm gonna hit the manual, and I'm just gonna focus right there. So now, no matter where I move the knife, it'll only focus at this distance. For example, the edge of the blade or the spine of the blade, you notice I'll not focus into the background anymore. So that's another little trick that I use for my photography and filming knife reviews. Okay, so another trick that I use is I adjust the white balance on my camera or video camera camcorder, and if you have that function, it's very, very good to use. Now, right now, you can see the bulbs are kind of producing a yellowish tint. That's because these are normal non-daylight bulbs. They produce a 2700 Kelvin temperature, and they produce a yellow. You notice it's a yellow hue all over the place. All right. Now, to account for this, I'll take my camera. I'll change it into a tungsten setting for the white balance, and you'll notice a huge difference immediately. Okay, so here is the same shot, and then you notice on a tungsten setting, all the colors are more balanced. You know, the wood actually seems to look like wood now instead of like just a yellow panel, and you know, the couch has the nice you know, color, so everything seems more balanced, more muted, and that's exactly what I do with my videos. Now, when I swing around to my actual recording part, area here, you notice the lights are actually extra bright, and then you notice that there's a nice little bluish tinge here. Now that's because these are daylight bulbs. These produce 5,000 kelvins, and they're more or less a pure white, not a pure yellow. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to adjust the white balance again and get it to a daylight setting to compensate for the daylight bulbs. Okay, now, same shot. Now you notice how everything just kind of muted down. You notice how the grays are more gray, the black is more black, and you even notice the knife is more gold now, because now I have dialed in a manual manual white balance. All right, so now I'm going to go and take a few photos and take a few videos and show you guys what this setup can do. And I'm going to replace the black background with a white piece of paper, so that way you guys can take a look at some of the product photography style that I do. All right. Okay, so here we are. I got everything all set up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few snapshots to show you the difference between my video camera versus shooting with the Canon 40D, a DSLR. So, okay, so here we are. I am currently recording this with the Canon Vixia HF-S20. And you notice that the quality is not too bad, you know, with the lighting setup I got into the diffusers and everything like that. And while I'm talking here, I'm going to go and superimpose some shots I took with my Canon 40D, and I'll go and label those so you guys can know which one is which. But I'm sure it'll be pretty obvious. So this still shot you see right now, this is with the actual video camcorder, and with the lighting setup that I showed you, you know, before in the early parts of the video. So like I said, this pretty much proves that you can get a pretty decent lighting setup just with a very little money. You know, even if you have a really expensive setup. With the expensive equipment, with the improper lighting setup, you're still going to get a really crappy picture. So it doesn't really matter how expensive your camera is. You know, you can have a very high-end camera. If you don't have the proper lighting, it's going to come out like crap. Alright, so I hope this video helps and answer a lot of your guys' questions. And so if you got any comments or any kind of other questions for me, please leave them below or shoot me a PM. Remember, I am not a professional. This is just amateur, and I will always market myself as an amateur photographer, amateur videographer, and this is just what works for me. And I don't get paid to do any of my videos. I don't get product endorsements. I don't get special treatments at any kind of websites. This is what I do for fun. This is my hobby, and this is what works for me on a budget level. Alright, so I want to say take care, have a good day, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.